That's fine. That's fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is good. Put you there. Hello everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello. Welcome to a series I'm going to be focusing on in 2025 video. Now, I did this video last year and I read like none of the series in that video. So this year, I'm going into this thinking, these are actually ones that I do want to actually read. Not that I wasn't thinking that before with the other books, but I guess what I should say is these are the options I want to work towards for finishing this year, that I can finish this year, and that I have already finished for this year. So I have a whole bunch around me. And if you guys know, if you guys been around for a while, you know that I have upwards of 85 plus series on the go at all, because I am the kind of person who dabbles. I read one book in a series, the very first book, because it's bright and shiny and new, and then I never go on and I never pick up the next ones. So I have so many that I can pick from. But again, a lot of the series that I start are like brand new debut books. So maybe the series aren't all out in the world yet. So I went through my giant list that I have on Compile, because I have the Compile spreadsheet, which is the CAWPILE spreadsheet that G from Book Roast puts together. And in her latest one, which I believe was from 2024, it also includes a series tracker, like part of the spreadsheet. So I have been tracking my series for the past few years. I have a ton that I've started, DNF'd, continuing, finished, all that kind of stuff. So what I did is I went through it and I picked ones that I actually could finish this year, that the books are out or are coming out this year. And I picked a couple of them, enough to fill this page in my like little book journal that I have, because I also have a goal this year of reading 10 series in total. I wanted to kind of lay out the ones that I could do and then leave this one blank for any series that I decided to start this year, because I always start some. I start and I dabble in like upwards of 50 series a year, which is a little ridiculous, but I do that. And I'm very, very strict, and I cull so many series from that list often. I'm like, if I even think about not continuing, I'm not continuing that series, because I really want to enjoy what I read. And I have so many different series that I could be finishing and working towards. So why would I keep reading a series that I'm not enjoying, right? Anyways, I got a lot to pick from that I could finish this year. But we're going to talk about this first one because I actually have already finished it. It is January 16th today, and I have finished my very first series of 2025. So I ended up reading The Sunbearer Trials when it came out by Aidan Thomas. And so this duology needed to be wrapped up. So I reread The Sunbearer Trials because it has been a number of years since I read it, and finally finished with Celestial Monsters. This, to me, 4-star series. It's so solid. It's so fantastic and enjoyable. Highly recommend this. But yes, we've got one off the list already. I like that we're starting this video with this very strong. Like this, when I was planning out my videos to do for January, this was like top of the list to do this series video. And these were top of the list for this series video. And I've already fucking finished it. So we're starting with a good note, at least. Another duology that I am going to finish this year is the Iron Widow duology. Now, I have been hearing Sharon, the author of this, talk about book 3. I thought this was a duology, and there is no information on the internet saying that it is anything else than a duology. So I'm considering it a duology. If anyone knows otherwise, please leave it in the comments. But I'm considering this a duology. It is a duology, right? Because that's what it was marketed as. They sold a 2-book deal. Either way, we're going to be at least continuing this series, if not finishing this duology this year. So I'm gonna have to reread Iron Widow because, again, it has been a number of years since I've read this, which is totally fine. And then I will dive into Heavenly Tyrant, which came out at the end of last year. So perfect time to dive into this bad boy and to finish this. This is a sci-fi fantasy mecha retelling of one of the Chinese emperors. I can't remember the exact one, but it's feminist, it's intense and angry, and there's a polyamorous love triangle in here that's fantastic and the correct way to do a love triangle in my opinion. So I enjoyed this when I read it. I remember really enjoying it, so I'm excited to keep going and see what the sequel has to offer. Another duology, lots of duologies right at the top of this, I would love to finish is the Ray Bear duology. Again, I'm going to have to reread book 1 before I go into book 2, but that's okay because I remember really enjoying Grey Bear when I read it by Jordan DeFucco. I've only heard good things about the sequel, so love this. I honestly can't wait to return to this brilliant, beautiful fantasy world. It was so fun. I couldn't really describe this to you though, because I don't really remember a lot of it. All I remember is that our main character, Tari Sai, has been kind of told in a very magical way, like ordered to essentially be the death of this prince. It's this whole situation, but I remember really enjoying it. So definitely gonna have to reread this because I don't, as you guys can see, I don't remember a lot about it, but anyways, there's that. And then I think nope, there's 2 more duologies. Of course there are. I got a lot of duologies on this list because I think shorter series might be my best bet. So we've got this duology, which is A River Enchanted and A Fire Endless, both by Rebecca Ross. I'm excited about this. I enjoyed A River Enchanted. It is beautiful. It is atmospheric. It is just gorgeous. So I'm excited to get into the sequel and finish out this duology. Will I need to reread book 1? Probably not, because I did read this last year, but like, who's to say with my memory, honestly. But these are definitely 2 really good ones. A River Enchanted starts with a bard, the only bard in this entire island, who is called home due to a mystery and these missing girls and spirits and stuff, because they think that he is the only one who can contact the spirits because of the bardic magic that he could do. So it's got really interesting magic. It's got really interesting characters and people and atmosphere. It was great. So I'm interested. I'm interested to see what happens with this one. And then for sure the last duology on here, we have these 2, which is the Weavers of Alamaxa duology, or just the Alamaxa duology, with the first one being the Daughters of Istahar and the second one being the Weavers of Alamaxa by Hadir El-Spy. This duology, I remember very little about reading this first one. All I remember is that it was queer and I had a good time reading it. And it had like earthbending, kind of Avatar: The Last Airbender bending type of powers. So we love that. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to reread this first one before going into this one. That's okay, because it's a duology. That's easy. That's doable. It's only 2 books, but I enjoyed this. I remember also it being a little bit like political revolutionary, interesting magic system, and like a oppressive system around the people with magic, from what I remember. Anyways, can't wait for this. Other than that, we got other series to talk about. So one of the series that I would like to finish with just reading this final book is this one that I've had on my list for such a long time. The Dragon of Jinsei by K.S. Veloso. This is the 3rd and final book in the Chronicles of the Bitch Queen. The first one being The Wolf of Oren-Yaro. I did pick this up at one point because this is where my bookmark is. So I did read some of it. I think what is really throwing me off with this one is that the first 2 books had audiobooks and this one does not have an audiobook made for it. So I have to go in reading this really thick fantasy book with just my eyes, and that is a little bit, I don't know, it gives me a little bit of weird vibes, because like I'm apprehensive about it, because I know my focus does not necessarily stay with big epic fantasy books unless I have an audiobook to help me, because I am so used to tandem reading all of the books that I read now. So that's a little bit of an issue, but I do really want to get through this. So this is one of those books, thank God, that gives us the story so far. So I don't think I have to reread book 1 or 2 to get into this. And all I remember is absolutely loving K.S. Veloso's writing. I love The Wolf of Oren-Yaro. Is one of the best fantasy books I've ever read. I just need to fucking finish this trilogy. I just need to get it off my plate and finish it and feel like I, find the joy in it again, because it has been on my list to finish for a number of years now, and I just have not gotten around to it. So this one is definitely going to be finished this year. It's gotta be. Now, it is a very political, character-driven fantasy as well. Like the first book starts with just the main character, Queen Tal, who ends up being kind of thrown to the base of base as she can possibly go, and all she wants is to get back to her son. The second book opens up more, and this third book opens up even more. So I'm excited to get back to it and like get myself back in that world. Another series that I'm going to be finishing this year with the third and final book is the Darkwater Daughter series, the Wintersea trilogy, because the third book, Red Tempest Brother, is coming out this year. I'm so excited about it. You guys know how much I love Hannah Long, H.M. Long, this author. She's one of my favorite authors of all time. She's written one of my favorite fantasy books of all time. I adore her work so fucking much, and I'm so excited for this. This is piratey, this is atmospheric as all hell. Book 2 is also fantastic, Black Tide Sun. I'm just so excited for book 3. Ooh, it's gonna be so delicious to see how she wraps up this trilogy. It's so good. Storm Singers, pirates, witches, interesting world building. It's so good. Another one that I'm going to be finishing the trilogy of, but I might need to reread all 3 books to get to it because I don't remember a lot about it, is The Last Watch trilogy. So that includes The Last Watch, let me just show you. I have them literally right here. The Last Watch, which is book 1, and The Exiled Fleet, which is book 2, and then finally this one, which is book 3. I think it's a trilogy. Ooh! It does not say that it's a conclusion on the back. It might not be a trilogy, but I think it is? I don't know. Either way, we're going to be continuing this series with actually reading this one. And I would really love to reread these 2 because, again, I don't remember a lot about it. All I remember is that this is one of my favorite sci-fi series that I have read ever because it kind of brings together the super epic of like The Expanse series by James S.A. Corey and ties it together with good actual human characters. Like, not that they are human. I'm fine with reading alien characters, but like the humanity of characters, like the closeness of being attached to a character, because we're following 2 people in here. We have Adequin Rake and Cavalon Mercer, 2 people who I absolutely love, and I love their relationship with each other. It's platonic friends. It's fantastic. But yeah, I'll be finishing this one. If it's a trilogy, I will be finishing this one this year. I don't know if it is or not. Now I'm like second guessing myself if this is a trilogy or not, but we'll find out. One that I for sure know is a trilogy that I'm going to be finishing this year is this bad boy, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, or the Emily Wilde series by Heather Fawcett. The 3rd one, The Compendium of Lost Tales, is coming out this year, and I'm so excited about it. I liked book 1, absolutely loved book 2, and I'm fucking ready for book 3. This is light academia scholarly work where we are basically reading a journal written by Emily Wilde as she's going on these little adventures and with her nemesis, Wendell Dambleby, and falling in love with him and all this kind of stuff. It's just... I think my favorite version of academia is light academia because it just makes my heart so happy. And it's cozy, if not cozy adjacent. I love it. I love it so deeply. And I'm so excited to go back into this world and get book 3. The other ones I'm going to talk about are books that I have not read past book 1 or have like more than just 1 book to finish. The one that I have more than just 1 to finish, I picked up the wrong 2 books. That's fine. Are The Faithful and the Fallen. I need to finish this series. I have 2 left in this John Gwynne series. This is epic fantasy, old man fantasy at its finest. I would highly recommend this to anyone who loves like Game of Thrones level fantasy, Robert Jordan, like Wheel of Time fantasy. If you love Brandon Sanderson, pick this up. Like that kind of fantasy, the super epic old man, multi-POV, slow, wonderful Viking level fantasy. Pick it up. I have Ruin and Wrath to finish. I have read Malice and Valor already, so just need to finish the last 2. And I would really like to do that this year. I said I was going to do it last year and I just never got around to it, but I did finish John Gwynne's other series, which is one of his other series, which is the Bloodsworn trilogy, which I absolutely fucking loved. So I'm excited to get back to this one, really dive into this just epic deliciousness. John Gwynne's so good. John Gwynne is so good. Another really epic one, the Lycanius trilogy by James Islington. This is a trilogy that I set out to read last year and just did not. I did finish book 1. It was one of my favorite books of all year. And then I got halfway through book 2 and just stopped because that's the mood reader in me. But I would really like to continue this series this year, if not finish it. Finish all 3, wrap it up, and get all of James Islington's beautiful, wonderful writing in one. This is, again, epic old man fantasy, but I think James Islington is doing a very interesting thing with twining in the aspect of time in a better way than the Wheel of Time did. I've only read 2 Wheel of Time books though, so I couldn't really tell you, but I loved this book. I loved this book. It was so good. And I'm excited to see where it goes from here. And yes, it is chunky, but it's delightful. The next one, sci-fi again, The Blighted Stars by Megan E. O'Keefe. I cannot wait to continue this trilogy. I have book 2 from the library out and I bought book 3, which is on my shelves. I couldn't find book 2 in stores. So I'm excited to get into this and to like wrap up this beautiful trilogy, continue it with book 2, wrap it up with book 3, if you will. I've heard only good things about this trilogy and it is just, it's a little niche beloved on TikTok and stuff like that. And I loved this book so much. It was amazing. It was an almost favorite of last year, and I cannot wait to keep going with this trilogy. This one specifically is like a survival, planetary, fungal, horror-y type of book with a little bit of a romance weaved through it. It was fucking amazing. And I need to also dabble in more of Megan O'Keefe's writing, but that's not part of this video. Another one that I would like to actually commit to this year is Melissa Blair's The Halfling Saga. So this is more romantasy, which I'm very intrigued by, the fact that I've picked this for this year, but the fourth book just came out, the fourth and final book in this saga, so I would love to reread A Broken Blade and then actually continue on with book 2, 3, and 4. I would like to do it in the next couple months so that I can wrap this bad boy up, because I am like interested to read it like now. So I would like to follow the mood reader train and actually get to this. But I'm very excited about it. And I did enjoy A Broken Blade when I read it. It was like an enjoyable, engaging read. So I would like to see how Melissa Blair gets better with every book and continues this story and stuff like that. And I've heard book 3's got an incredible twist. So I'm excited to kind of give this saga a try and to really get into it. And it's Indigenous literature, so we love. And it has an older protag, which we also love. So this follows Kira, who is a killer. She's a Kingsblade assassin type of situation. And in this world, there's these beings, the Fae, who have disappeared, sort of. There's also this like dark shadow person who is like threatening the crown and also bothering her. And she learns some stuff about her life and who she is and all this kind of stuff, and being a halfling specifically. I'm excited to keep going with it. My Robin Hobb journey is continuing this year with the Live Ship Traders series. I am just about halfway through The Mad Ship, which is book 2 in the Live Ship Traders series. So I would like to get this series done this year. This is my Robin Hobb goal of this year. Anytime I have a bookmark with a tassel on it, I get a little overwhelmed. Yes, this is the Hobb journey of this year, because I would really like to get back to Fitz, to get back to Fitz and the Fool and that storyline. I really enjoyed the first book in this series, but this one is kind of a slog for me because I'm just not connecting to any of the characters. I miss the connection that I had with Fitz in the Farseer trilogy and the way that Robin Hobb's masterful character work was crafted in that trilogy. Like, so much so that I'm like, what if I just reread it? Like, I don't have the time to reread that epic fantasy series. I would just like to get back to Fitz and the Fool. So that's kind of a thing. But I am enjoying this one. I am enjoying it. Just not nearly as much as the first one, which is interesting and a little sad. Maybe it's because I'm not like perfectly in the mood for a Robin Hobb, because Robin Hobb's fantasy is a very specific taste. Everyone sings its praises, everyone talks about it so much, but you have to be in a specific mood and you have to like really fucking slow fantasy. Like, this is old man fantasy, but like cranked down to 1. Like, it is slow. This one, granted, has more going on because it is multi-POV. There's a lot more going on, a lot more people to follow, all that kind of stuff than with the Farseer trilogy, which was just Fitz. But I really liked just following Fitz and his weird little life. Like, there's something about it. And maybe also what's affecting me is that the audiobook narrator for this series is fucking trash. It's so bad. Her voice is so annoying, which is so terrible to say, but like the narrator for the Farseer trilogy was incredible. It felt like I was listening to like my grandpa tell me a story. Like, it was that level of wonderful. So it's a little bit of a struggle to get through this because I'm using the audiobook to like get me through bigger swathes of it. Otherwise I would not be able to finish this in like a year, because this is the kind of fantasy that would take me forever to read. Kind of like this one without an audiobook, you know? So that's just kind of how my brain works, and that's how things works. But this is definitely the Hobb that I'm going to finish this year. If I get to the next Hobb trilogy, I would be very happy about it. I think it's the Tawny Man next. I'd have to double check the order. I have a whole stack right here behind this art print of Robin Hobb stuff that I will have to actually delve into at some point. But yes, this is the Hobb that I'm working towards and all that kind of stuff. It is piratey. It's got like dragons and ships and stuff. So it is something that I know I love. I just have to get through it. And I think what I really have to do is get through the middle slog of this book to get to like the action of the end, because I think that's going to pick up a little more. And I also think that what's really dragging me down is that a few of the characters I fucking hate. Like, I loathe Malta with my entire soul. She is the most annoying character I have ever come across in my entire fucking life. If she wasn't in the story, I would be so much happier. Like, if her point of view was removed and we just got Ronica, her grandma's point of view, I would be so much happier because Ronica seems like a badass. But Malta is, and I even Googled it to see like what happens to Malta because I'm like, does Girly like die? Or does she like change? Because she's fucking insufferable. And she's also in some Fitz books, which I'm a little annoyed about, but maybe she changes. Maybe she changes her attitude because she's insufferable. I hate her so much. Anyways, little rant about Malta over. The last one we have here. No, I have two more. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh my God. The Edinburgh Nights series. This is one that I'm not sure if it's finished this year. Book 4 came out recently. I don't know if book 4 is the final one. I thought this was a trilogy. So I have 1, 2, and 3 on my shelves. I got book 2 and 3 right here. This is an ARC that I got when this first came out. But I got book 2, which is the purple, and book 3, which is the orange. I thought it was a trilogy. It is not. There's a 4th book out, and I don't know if there's gonna be more. So I would like to at least read book 1 to 4 this year. Maybe not book 1 again because I have read it twice, but definitely continue with this series this year. This is a fantastic, ghosty, slightly alternative Edinburgh where we follow Ropa, who's an incredibly voicey narrator. Like, if you want to read one of the most uniquely told stories, pick this up. This is so cool. But I'm very interested to see like where it goes from here because it was so interesting and I don't know why I never fucking continued with it. But now I'm going to. And finally, this is one that I'm going to be actually continuing because the final book is not out yet. We still have, I think, 3 books to come out before the final book is out. But that is the Bone Season series. I have all 4 of these beautiful new copies right here. These are like the re-released ones. So I would really like to reread this one as the re-released one because I did read the Bone Season in its original form a number of years ago and I really enjoyed it. So I'm excited to see what Samantha Shannon has done with this. And then I would honestly love to keep going with this series because it seems like something I would absolutely adore. I don't know why I never continued with the series back in the day. Again, mood readering, but I'm intrigued to get back into this. It's dystopian. It's Samantha Shannon who wrote The Priory of the Orange Tree, which I loved. There's a really interesting magic system in here. It's like real world urban more type of, it's dystopian, right? So it's a little like it's set in worlds that we know just like really changed in the future kind of a thing. So I'm excited to keep going with this series. And now that I have all 4 of these brand new re-released ones, I do need to read them all. And when book 5 comes out this year, or like, is it out now? Question mark? I think it might just be coming out in January or something. It's out very, very, very soon. I will be reading that one as well when I get to it. But I believe this is supposed to be a 7-book series. So this is not one that I'm going to be finishing this year because book 6 and 7 don't exist yet. But this is definitely one that I wanted to mention because I will be working towards it. And reading more than 3 books is something that I can say is working towards finishing a series because this is 4 books long so far. And there will be a 5th one out. So there will be a lot of books for me to read. But I'm excited about it. I guess I could also mention another series that I'm going to be working toward, reading again. I would like to reread These Burning Stars and then go on to the sequel On Vicious Worlds by Bethany Jacobs. This is a sci-fi series. I did read These Burning Stars. This is a cat and mouse type of interesting narratively sci-fi that I think I will enjoy more on reread, and then I'm going to go into the sequel. I believe this is a trilogy, so I think there's one more book coming out of this, but I'm continuing the series this year. Another one that I'm going to continue with, I would really like to, actually this is another one that I could probably also finish, and that is India Holton's whole like cozy thing. There's a word for this one. There's a name to this trilogy. I don't know. The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels was book 1. This is book 2. I need to read book 2 and book 3, and then I'm done this standalone trilogy. This one would also be a lovely one to finish this year and to keep going with. I could also read The Bone Ships in its entirety if I wanted to by J.R. Barker or R.J. Barker. I did not mention this. I'm not gonna get it because it's 8 books down in a stack on my shelves, is The Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. I've read book 1 and 2. There's 5 books in that series. Would love to finish that series this year. And there's just, yeah, it's just, there's so many options. As I said at the beginning of this video, I have like 80, I think it's 87 now because I just finished the Sunbury Trials duology. There's so many I could pick from. There's so many I could pick from, guys. But I think this is what I'm gonna dabble in this year. I need to finish 10 to hit my goal. I've already finished 1, and I think we're gonna be good because these are all like the ones that are sitting in front of me that I talked about are all series that I do want to be reading like right now and do want to be working towards this year. So we're gonna at least make progress in our series reading this year and hopefully shrink that number. I say that knowing that I am also a person who reads a lot of debuts and reads a lot of starts of series, because fantasy is a genre where series just get started all the time. If you are reading a new book, it is usually a series. So that's an issue, but it's okay. We'll figure it out, right, friends? Anyways, there's a lot of series that I can dabble in this year. This also doesn't count any of the series that I might start and finish this year, which happened last year with N.K. Jemisin's 100,000 Kingdoms trilogy. But who's to say? I got a lot of duologies that I can make, you know, headway in. This stack is upside down. That's gonna really bother me. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is good. Put you there. So, my friends, I'm gonna leave this here. Let me know down below any series that you plan on continuing or working towards finishing this year that are on the top of your list. If any of the in this video have made it to your list, and I will see you in another video very, very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.